All right, I'm Tim.
I'm Justice.
And you're listening to the Brutally Delicious Podcast.
Brutally Delicious!
Hey, you're listening to the Brutally Delicious Podcast. I'm Bruce.
My name is Chris.
And today we've got Myth of Creation, a super heavy band out of the Midwest.
Colorado Springs.
Yeah, if you stay tuned, we're going to see what they have to say. Welcome, Tim and Justice from Myth of Creation. Briefly, for fans who don't know you guys, can you give us the two-sentence sell?
Sure. So we're a metal band based out of Colorado. Just wrapped up on our debut record. It just came out September 27th, and it's released through Pavement Entertainment.
Now that it's out in the stores, it's got to be super exciting, right?
Bruce,
it's extremely exciting.
Ask that question again, because your internet's going crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck. Well, now that it's in the stores, is that better?
Yeah.
Is that not better? I can't tell. I'm looking at Chris. Now that it's in the stores, it's got to be quite exciting to have it finally released, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, this record's been a long time coming. I think we started pre-production, 2016?
16, yeah.
Something. We just kept having setback after setback after setback. It's finally out. We're happy with it, and we're happy to let people hear it now.
2016.
What was the...
That's a long-ass time ago.
Yeah, that's 3 years, right?
Yeah.
Close to, yeah.
Yeah, like when
you see how I do my math.
Yeah, he's really good. He had to think about that one. So
break out the calculator on that one.
when being a creative person, 3 years is a long time to sit on material without writing new material and feeling like, well, the new material's better. What the fuck are we doing with this old shit? How did you deal with that emotional aspect of it?
You know, I think this has been a long time coming, like you said. So I think we kind of owed it to us and everyone else to put out the original pieces because they captured a lot more of the past than what was going on. So we actually rewrote some lyrical content. We made sure we captured what the last 5 years of our lives were, maybe even 7 years even. To make sure that we captured all of that past. So it was kind of like a milestone, a marker. So that way with the new stuff we started writing, we made sure we kept that for album 2, maybe a part 2.
And I mean, the record we went into the studio with isn't necessarily the record that came out on the end of that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, things did change in studio. Like you said, lyrical content, some songs got scrapped, some songs got rewritten, which wasn't the initial intent going into it. You know, we had a lot of stuff happen while we were in the studio. So we kind of had to make those changes on the fly, which, I mean, in turn made for a better product on the end spectrum of that.
Yeah.
So I just want to know, because I'm a recording engineer by trade. That's what I do.
Oh, nice.
And I also own an audio software company. So I often hear people use the word studio and all that kind of stuff. Did you guys actually go into a studio, or did you record at home? Did you work in a basement facility? How did you go about getting it done?
So a lot of what we did actually was kind of scratch tracked. Our guitar player, Robert, who's not with us right now, he's 2 hours south in another town working. He did a lot of the scratch tracks and actually did majority of the songwriting, presented it to us, and then we were able to put our twists on it. But we actually cut the album at Sunshine Studios in Colorado Springs.
Cool.
So we were fortunate enough to work with Richard Easterling as our engineer and Scott Wilson as our producer from Tantric and Saving Abel. So we were on site in studio working a lot on the album.
So live drums.
Yeah.
Fucking right.
It's a novel thing, right?
I know.
Hey, I get so many mixes nowadays. It's all virtual everything. You know, there's no amps anymore. There's no drums anymore. Bass is just straight in. Everything's just in the box. So when you're working live like that, it's pretty rad.
And it was kind of cool because we were tossing around the idea of using Justice's Pearl set that he has and tuning things, getting the new heads and what heads we wanted to use. And he was kind of in between sticks. He finally just switched to the Vader sticks.
Yeah.
We threw out the idea of like, let's try to experiment on this one and see if we could kind of do an electronic drum set, but with physical cymbals. And then we tried going back and forth, and we kind of use it to experiment a little bit and see what we could come out with.
There was kind of a lot of mixtures that kind of went into it. So it was kind of a hybrid. Awesome. Yeah.
You got to love technology.
It's come a long way. It really has.
It's great, but it also sucks, but it's great.
You know what's great about it is that you never have to make a decision. You know what's terrible about it? You never have to make a decision.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like when Bruce was recording on tape, or me for that instance, like I kind of started engineering when tape was on its way out. And the last record I did cost me about $25,000 all in, using 2-inch tape. And I was told at that time, Pro Tools will never, ever take over tape. Digital will never sound as good. And I was like, fuck that. I want to use, like, I was working at home on a digital recorder, and you could just cut and paste shit and move stuff around. And tape just seemed so clunky to me at that time. Still does. But anyways, enough about audio engineering. Bruce is shaking his head.
I am shaking my head because I'm the old school. I want the full console. I want to use the razor blade and cut the 1/2-inch tape, and this is the bridge and tape it to the wall, and I do all that fun stuff.
I fucking hate tape. I hate it. You know why?
I don't even know how we're together on this podcast.
When you're the assistant engineer, tape is the worst thing that's ever happened in the world.
I disagree.
Band finishes at 11 p.m. Producer's like, okay, have all the edits done by tomorrow at 8 when we show up. And you're like, fuck, you got reels of tape around your neck and there's a piece on the floor and you're like, fuck, which piece do I need? Like, fuck that. Anyways.
So guys, when you're writing your music, are you writing it like how it's going to come across on stage? Like, hey, this is going to be a good breakdown, or this is going to be a good killer part. Or are you writing the song, just for a song's sake, and you're smiling, so this got to be a good story?
I don't think we really have like a method.
Okay.
We don't really write necessarily with an intent to say, this is going to be a great live song. This is going to be a great studio song. This is going to be a great sing-along type song for the crowd, or whatever it may be. We just kind of, whatever comes out comes out. And I mean, if we like it, we'll roll with it.
It's kind of hodgepodge together.
So what would happen then if you wrote a Justin Bieber track and you loved it?
If we loved it, we're going to play it.
And you loved it, right?
Like we kind of have a little bit all over the spectrum with this. Like we have some like industrial, we have some heavy metal, some songs that almost give across like almost a black metal type of vibe, but not necessarily. And then we have some that are more acoustic and slow radio-ish. But I think we just kind of like, we all come from a different background of music. Like Justice was raised on 80s hair metal, and I was raised on
hell yeah.
I grew up with Tupac and like New Edition and New Kids on the Block, and Robert was straight like Jimi Hendrix and Nine Inch Nails, and so we all kind of just put all that in a pot, and somehow this album came out.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, welcome to a new feature. It's called Name That New Kid Song. Ready?
Oh crap! My mom is gonna be so disappointed.
Whoa! Hanging tough.
I'm not sure if you've ever listened to our podcast, but these tend to go down the wrong track really quickly. So I apologize for my challenged partner. Everything is totally off the cuff.
It always tends to go that way.
Hey, I'm cool with it.
Chris?
Step 1.
No.
He's 0 for 2. Strikeout.
I mean, we could try
Come on, man.
We could try like If It Isn't Love, or hell, what was it? Another Bad Creation? Aisha? That's a good one.
I don't know any of this stuff.
I don't know any of this pop
I'm just
stuff.
fucking around. I'm just fucking around here.
My son is into EDM. Are you guys EDM fans?
No. I mean, I do like this guy named Scooter, but I don't know if it's EDM. I'm sure somebody right now is
I don't even
radio like EDM. That's not EDM. But I mean, if it's decent, I'll listen to anything really, except reggae. I can't do reggae.
I can't do reggae.
Go to Jamaica,
Really?
you'll change your mind.
I like reggae. I can't stand EDM.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
let's
whatever.
get back on the band here. Bruce always takes it off the rails, so we got to get back on track here.
Chris.
What?
Jesus Christ. Sorry. So when you guys are writing, is it more the efforts of one particular member of the band, or are you guys all writing together?
So that's it. Robert, our guitar player, he's the one who kind of writes the foundation that he has in Ableton, and he'll sometimes use Easy Drummer,
Sometimes.
and just to get himself like a rough, really simple beat, and then he'll write on top of that with some guitar, some bass, and then he'll bring it to us or send it to us via Dropbox, and we'll kind of completely dissect it from there,
tear it apart, and then we all just kind of add our own parts. Like we all kind of do each other's jobs. Like Robert will lay the main foundation to the song, but then Tim might say, hey, I like this guitar better, or try doing it this way, try doing it that way. And Robert might say, hey, I like if you would do this type of drum part. And I might say, hey, I like if you sang this melody, or if you're in this key, or if you sing this lyric.
Yeah.
So we all kind of do each other's jobs to a certain extent. But I mean, I obviously do most of the drums, vocals, guitars. You know, we all have our places.
We all really come together on the key piano parts too. Yeah. Like we all throw in a little bit of synth or a little bit of violin or orchestral or choir to kind of get the sound that we've shaped.
Cool. Okay. So is there a keyboard player in your band?
We used to, but not anymore.
So the computer we're talking to you on right now, that's our keyboard player.
Right.
Tracks.
That's the extra member of the band.
Thank God for the X32 Behringer rack.
Lifesaver.
Nah, man. Every metal festival you go to, every band's playing to a click and playing to tracks.
Oh,
you know, and I actually had this discussion with somebody just recently where they were like, "Oh, you're cheating. You're using tracks," and it's like, I mean, personally, if you view it that way, to each his own. I mean, I'm not upset with you, but if you're gonna go watch, follow Slipknot, follow Coheed and Cambria for a full month, of course they're using tracks. Mariah Carey uses tracks. Anybody that's out there uses them. I mean, it can develop into a crutch sometimes, but it helps an immense amount to give you a professional sound.
It's another tool to use.
Yeah.
People have been using tracks since Woodstock.
Forever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, the Who couldn't play, what's that song? Bubba O'Reilly? They can't do that song without tracks.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's just another tool. And like I was saying earlier, like when we were in the studio, we happened to lose 2 members of the band during that process.
Ouch.
And we just never really found anybody to fill those slots.
Yeah.
So we just our guitar player wrote and recorded the bass tracks, and we just have been using it as a bass track. So we, play the bass and the keyboards through a track along with the click from my ears. And it's kind of how our live show is set up.
Cool. Right on.
Yeah.
It actually was better.
I applaud you for that. I do. I think it takes a lot of guts to because I actually think it's harder to play to a click live than it is to not.
It was definitely a big learning curve. I mean, don't get me wrong, but
I can't do it.
I can't. Now I think where we're at with it, I don't think I can do a show without having a click in my ear. I'm so comfortable with it, and it's in turn made us as a band so much tighter.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't feel comfortable without a click anymore.
I'm sure you've noticed too, the audience is a lot more engaged.
Oh, completely. Yeah.
Because you're more consistent all the time.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you go see, a local band at a dive bar, and, they may not be the tightest. The guitar may be slightly off from the drums, the vocals might be slightly off from the drummer, whatever. But yeah, once you hear a band who is spot on to the click, I mean, you can tell, and it just gives them that more professional aspect behind them. It makes them sound more like they know what they're doing.
Yeah. I mean, there's styles of music that don't require that, for sure.
Oh, exactly. If you're in a hardcore punk band and you're playing to a click, it's not going to sound right.
It's going to sound like Green Day.
Exactly. Right.
Nice. That was one of the challenges we had in the studio. We have a song. What was the name of it? That we had like 3 different tempo changes because we didn't write it with the click in mind. This was like one of our very first songs we wrote, and it was like so frustrating because it was such a good song that, well, we felt it was a good song, and then we tried recording it like to a click track, and that was not possible.
That was one of the songs that got cut.
Yeah.
Not for only that reason, but that was
it was a main reason.
a big reason.
Is there a message or something you want your fans to take away from after listening to a Myth of Creation record?
100%.
Yeah.
Being as somebody who kind of struggled with depression, still kind of struggles with it. Like we definitely want to put the message out that you're never alone. Ever in this world, there's suicidal awareness, there's mental health problems, especially like the stigma that's put on it. That's, in my opinion, it's bullshit. And
Amen,
I'm sorry, am I allowed to cuss on this?
Please do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you fucking met me?
But the stigma that's put on this is stupid. And then there's so many people who are bullied or who feel alone, and we want somebody to be able to kind of empathize with this and realize that, hey, if we got through this, you can too. Like we're just trying to give back the exact same thing music gave to us, to hopefully motivate somebody to keep on keeping on, or hell, to even start playing music. Like we want to give a very positive message. I mean, lyrically, it's really dark, but hopefully in those dark lyrics, they can see that there's light in it, essentially.
I mean, music is saves people. Believe it. I mean,
No,
literally.
I don't know what. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. Literally, I mean. And it doesn't matter how dark it is. Sometimes it's just a way of working out your inner demons, and people on the outside think everybody's just screaming and being, all demon possessed in the jackasses. But it's really a way to it's cathartic in a way too, I think, right?
Completely, yeah.
It's actually another song we're working on.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. little sneak peek for you guys. Cathartic Dreams is one of ours we're working on.
There you go.
Trademark that name, Bruce, quick.
There you go.
Bruce actually did a movie about depression in metal.
Really?
I did. It came out a couple weeks ago, a month ago. Yeah, it's called Metal Health Out of the Pit. And I can actually send you a link when we're done. I'll send it to you today.
We were just talking about that, actually, because that name sounds so familiar. I can't remember who we were talking to, but they brought that up. Yeah.
It's on my head.
Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad people are talking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah,
it's got a whole bunch of different bands in it, from local bands to, national or international touring bands, all sharing their stories of, depression and how music really helped them get through. Some of it's rough, people with shotguns to their chins and gonna pull the trigger, and then, something happens. But the overwhelming theme is that music got them through.
See, and that's like one of the biggest things I stick to, because like everybody, like I said, there's such a stigma on it, and everyone's so ashamed to talk about it and scared to talk about it. And me, I'm quite the opposite. I'm like, the more people that can hear this, the better, because there are always going to people struggling with this.
Sure.
Like, so if I can tell my story to help just that one person, you bet your ass I'm going to tell it.
Right. And I mean, just look at the last 2 years. We've lost so many influential people. And I mean, really, the catalyst for me starting the movie was, I don't know if you know Jill from Baroness. It was Baroness?
Doesn't sound familiar.
I think it was Baroness. But anyway, Jill, she actually came here and cooked with me because I do a cooking show as well. And then within a year, she couldn't take it anymore and left us. And that's when I started putting this whole thing together, and it, kind of went from there. But there's a lot of people hurting out there. You're right. And we're a big community. Chris and I talk about this all the time on the show. The metal community is a big, tight-knit community in a way, because I mean, you could go over to Poland right now or whatever and meet somebody at a festival, and within 10 minutes you're drinking a beer, and it's like you've known them your whole life, right?
That's how Bruce and I met. That's how we met. We met on a metal festival.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
See, that's like
in 2011, yeah.
A lot of people are like, oh, metalheads are scary. But I mean, you take metal lyrics, you take rock lyrics, and you compare that to the popular pop music that's out there. And it's like the shit we say is so much deeper than like just this surface level crap that's out there for people to listen to. And metalheads are some of the nicest people I have ever met. Like,
I agree.
You know what? After going on 70,000 tons of metal, I could travel anywhere in the world right now, and I would have a couch to sleep on.
Yep. That's amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a family. You know what I mean?
So in the end, I think it's great what you guys are doing, and what I tried to do with the film is to just let people know it is a community, and there's more to it than just, screaming and slicing pigs' heads off and worshiping Satan or whatever. There is depth to it once you get past all the screaming.
Something that I often think about, because I struggled a lot in my youth with bipolar disorder, and I was all over the fucking map. And in and out of the hospital all the time. Like, I until I was like 27 or 28, I was just in and out of the hospital. That was my life. And I often think that when people look at suicide, they look at it in the wrong way. They look at it as though someone ended their life, but they don't look at it like the same way they would look at cancer, or the same way they look at, any other ALS or MS, right? Suicide is just the end of that progression.
Sure.
And there's the thing is though, is that it can be intercepted before it happens.
Right. Exactly.
But I don't think that you need to look at people that kill themselves in a negative light, because at that moment in their life, they don't know any better. Like,
right.
That's the end of their illness and I think it's sad to say that, but there's a huge stigma, like you say, on mental health, and it's just not okay. There doesn't need to be one.
Yeah, and I mean, hopefully, that's kind of what we're trying to push. That we're trying to push that if you're hurting, we're hurting along with you. You know what I mean? Like, there are people out there you can talk to. And sometimes it is easier to talk to somebody you don't know. And I mean, we're here to help. Anybody that needs help. You know what I mean? Even if it is just throwing the record on, listening to the words, relating to the words. And just being able to know, hey, if these guys were in this position when they wrote this song, yet they're still here at the other end of it talking about it and trying to get people to understand that you can do it. Like, you can get through it.
Absolutely.
That's one of our big messages,
That's awesome. I'm getting chills as we speak here. That's awesome.
Yeah. For what little I have on my arms, my hairs are up. Don't worry, I don't shave them. I'm just,
Sorry, this kind of conversation went down a different angle, but
no, I'm not sorry.
What kind of touring are you guys planning on doing what kind of touring are you guys planning on?
I mean, any and all, really. I mean, right now where we're at, we just wrapped on the record. We're just kind of putting it out there. Hopefully get on the road pretty soon. We got a couple of good offers, and we're just trying to see what the budget will allow us to do. I mean, it's not the cheapest thing in the world, but we got some things in the works.
Cool.
So, there's not millions not millions in playing metal shows?
Oh, yeah, we're loaded. You can't see our grandiose mansion behind us.
You know what? I like honesty. That means a lot. You'll meet a lot of bands like, oh man, we were playing this show, we were on this tour, we're doing this, we're doing that, and then you find out like they just played at their hometown 3 shows, 3 weekends in a row. And
that's one of our biggest things too, is like staying humble, like remembering where you came from, remembering who got you to where you are now, like the people who picked you up when you fell, and even remembering the people who told you would never make it. Like, we're broke. We're mentally picked up. Like, we didn't think the album would even come out. Like,
yeah.
Right.
So we're surprised we made it this far.
But it did. It did come out.
Exactly. But we did. So I mean, we just got to keep pushing. And I mean, we'll definitely be out on the road, before anybody knows it.
Awesome. So I don't know if you've got anything, Chris. I'm going to hit the that fun part of the.
Oh fuck.
The fun part of the conversation. I guess you guys haven't listened to the show yet, but I try to like to end it with some fucked up questions that have nothing to do with anything, and they're really fucked up. And
I am in here.
I'll just hit you with 2 of them, and just see where they end up. If you don't like them, we can just edit them out or whatever. Chris is already shaking his head because he knows what's coming.
I actually have one. I have one now.
Oh wait, we're gonna let Chris go because I want to hear his.
Okay. Strangest place you've ever been caught picking your nose? So here's the conundrum. Do you admit that you pick your nose, or do you lie?
You seem like you got a good one behind this. I'll let you take this.
So, I mean, everyone's done it, and you kind of get them like long, like stringy ones that kind of like make your eyes water. It's like it gets you the chills. So I was downtown at our hometown actually, and I was driving my Jeep, which is a standard. So I'm trying to multitask. I got this big old fucking booger, and it's like my eyes started watering. I kind of went to like a kind of a little bit of an orgasm because it felt so good. I almost ran into the back of a car because it felt so good.
Did you fling it or did you wipe it?
I don't remember. I think it might have gotten on my steering wheel or my shift knob because like
on the car seat or anything, right?
It's a lost cause at that point.
You know what? The next Harvard study I'm looking for is amount of mucus on side of car seat.
Oh.
Oh my God.
I don't think you want to know that number.
It was one of those things where if I would have hit the car, like, do I lie? And it's like, oh, sorry, I didn't see you. Or is it like,
my nose.
Sorry, Judge, I picked my nose and it felt good.
Yeah,
And
I was knuckle deep.
Did you lie? Sorry, I was on my cell phone. Or
So you take the ticket to save embarrassment?
I would take the embarrassment. Yeah, I got no shit. Why not?
Right.
okay,
I don't really
Bruce.
have boundaries.
Yeah.
Sorry to hijack, Bruce. Go ahead.
No, and I'm glad you're partaking. Usually you shake your head when I ask these. So, all right, let's see. What set of items could you buy that would make the cashier in the grocery store the most uncomfortable?
I mean, I'm sure you can go with the cliche ski mask, duct tape, shovel,
Some bleach.
and a plastic tarp.
Or you could buy a bunch of red antifreeze and just say like, I hope the kids like this punch for Halloween.
Do you think they'll notice the difference when I cut it? I can't afford the high C punch. They'll never know. At the dollar store.
Oh.
Jesus.
I'm Tim.
We know you're
Oh.
Introduce the song.
Beautiful.
Man, I dropped out of college.
Hey, at least you went.
Yeah, at least you went. I didn't.
I got all the debt to prove it. So
we're Myth of Creation, and you're about to hear the song Psycho. Hope you like it.
Perfect.
That's all I've got. Chris, you good?
I'm good, man. Thanks so much for the conversation today, guys.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
you. Cool. Perfect. Thank you guys for having us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks. You guys have a good day.
Yeah,
You
take
too.
care.
All right, we'll see you. Bye. That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was really good, actually. Very fun guys.
Yeah, nice guys. Thanks for listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast today. We really appreciate your listening ability.
And your enthusiasm.
You're so enthusiastic. I'm going to
Keep
do
the
it.
fan mail coming.
I'm going to do it like Barry White. Are you ready? Thanks for listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast today. We really appreciate it.
You think there were any babies being made while you were saying that?
I hope so.
And contrary to popular belief, I am not Jason Momoa.
And I'm a fat old white guy. So,
Right. Old fat metal guy signing off. Thanks for listening.
cheers.
Cheers.
Hello out there. Yes, hello out there, everyone. I'm Hal Schwartz.
And I'm Flynn McLean. Together we host None But the Brave, a podcast dedicated to the music and career of Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce and E Street Band are on tour right now for the first time in 6 years, and we're taking a detailed look at what's happening on stage in our bi-weekly episodes.
We've also been recently joined by some very exciting guests, including rock journalist Warren Zanes and Stephen Hayden, Backstreet's Magazine founder Charles Cross, and Barstool's Kirk Minahan.
If you're a diehard Springsteen fan, this is the show for you.
So please subscribe to None But the Brave on your favorite podcasting platform, and we hope to see you further on up the road.
Thank you so much. We'll be seeing you.